My friend, I'm having probably the same feeling you're having right now. Normally you wake up, or I do, and I'm well, it's all day. It's not just when you wake up, but you're hit with this seemingly endless barrage of thoughts and ideas and facts and stories. I mean, there's so much to go through, so much to work through. It's absolutely incredible. And this is the part which is the most important thing for anybody to ask. And I ask you really, 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 truly, this particular issue. How is it that we're supposed to figure this thing out? How? How do we figure this? This is the most important thing in the world. And I mean this absolutely 100%. How do you focus? How do you deal with all of what you are going through right now? Let me explain something. First, you have earned every single thing you feel right now. You don't have to explain anything to anybody. This is a new era, my friends. This is a new everything. All of those people who gave you a hard time, all of those people, remember, it is our time to pay them back. Revenge is a dish great whenever you have it. Cold, warmed up, refried. I want these people to absolutely pay for everything they've put this country through. Not just our feelings, not just... And the first thing you're going to have to do, my friend, is to understand something. You deserve respect. And if you want to vote for Donald Trump, and if you did vote for Donald Trump, and if you believe in MAGA, you should be able to do so without anybody giving you the slightest problem, period. This is a triumph, the likes of which we cannot. I am a different person. I am a different person. You have no idea. I was never one for tolerating nonsense. I just won't today. I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm just not going to tolerate it. But unless somebody pays for something, see, this is why we have a criminal problem. This is why we have problems in the street. Nobody pays. President Trump has this tendency to be conciliatory. He has got to say, I will be nice to you in public. I will look as though, because I'm the president now and I've got to reach out to everybody. But behind closed doors, when I can stick a shiv into you and pay you back for what you put us through, that's Zuckerberg. Don't forget Zuckerberg, all these people. Eric Adams, the mayor of New York, this subtard. Never forget. Make it look. Make him beg. He's holding, in the case of Eric Adams, he wants to be pardoned. He wants to be pardoned. That's why he's there. He doesn't like you. These people don't like you. And half of the people who are going to be performing to show you how powerful Trump is, they hate you. Do you really think that Carrie Underwood or Snoop Dogg or whoever these people are, do you really think those are MAGA people? Come on. It doesn't even matter. Just remember, they're not your friends. They're not. Remember, this year you're just going to cut these people out of your life. And you can do the same thing. There have been people who I think, very frankly, some have been, what's the word? Some have been leftist, but others have exhibited an absolute form of mental illness. If you at any time during the course of this ever believed that a man and a woman cannot be defined, I have nothing to do with you. I have nothing to do with you. I'm also done with discourtesy. I'm done with rudeness. I'm just done with it. I don't, and I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. I'm just done. Trust no one, my friends. Trust no one. I'm sorry to say this. I hate to tell you this. Trust no one. It is the most, it is an absolute truth. Go to a divorce court Go to family law. Look at what's happening, and you will be absolutely, positively amazed. Every one of those cases involves somebody who turned their back on the other, because all those people promised forever. And listen, some people should be divorced. I'm not suggesting this, but understand something. Nobody keeps their word. Don't trust anybody. Nobody. There's a wonderful article by Matthew Continetti. He's in the Washington Free Beacon, I believe. I know they replayed it in National Review, but he quotes this quote. He refers to this quote from Ronald Dahl that says, he's a political, scientist. He said, A has power over B to the extent that he can get B to do something that B wouldn't otherwise do. That's what power is. I can make you do something you don't want to do. That's it. And if you think about it, that's all we're talking about. In Washington today, or Monday, we're going to be talking about this, by the way. There's this new rule. And as Continetti says, A is Donald Trump and B is everyone else. Trump can get everyone to do whatever he wants. This is a man who spent almost a decade a decade in presidential politics. He remade the GOP in his image. He won the Republican, the GOP nomination 3 times, defeated the Bushes, the Clintons, Gay Mala, and I guess one would argue by extension or by extrapolation, Joe Biden and Barack Obama. Listen to what he did. This is a great article. He clawed his way out of the political wilderness, his words, after 2020 by capitalizing, listen to this, on flawed opposition, the personal and policy failures of Biden and Harris, and prosecutorial lawfare. In 2024, he won the popular vote, brought Republicans an electoral trifecta, and assured the power of the presidency in all but name. What this man has done is just beyond anything you really can understand. You have to stop and put it into perspective. And you have to step away and know kind of where to look at this. Everybody has the right to entitle themselves to what's going on. The president has got to do a couple of things. Number one, he has to understand that the people that are going to hurt him are in his cabinet, in his circle now. Nobody else can hurt him. He knows who the enemy is. I hate to bring it to your attention. He knows who the enemy is. This is a different world that we live in. This is a crazy world. This is demented. Now, there's a couple of things here. You heard that the president they're very upset about this. The president has canceled outside stuff because of the cold. You know, and I know that's not what's going on. I don't think the president's at liberty. I know this Dan Bongino was saying something, whatever. I don't know. People are ready to weather the weather, no matter what it is, and they are very upset. Some people want to cancel. It's mayhem already. But you know what? That's their problem. You couldn't get me at that. You couldn't get me anywhere near the inauguration. You couldn't get me anywhere near the inauguration. I would rather drink bleach than go to the inauguration. Dear God Almighty, no way, no way. A couple of things, and I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to do what I do normally. First and foremost, I start off with X, as it were, or the Twitter thing, and there's a couple of great stories, and one of them is I find just fascinating, and I think it's important, partly because I don't like these people. And partly because I want to see bad people really crushed, especially hypocrites. All I want you to do is tell me what it is that you believe and stick to it and don't change your mind. Piers Morgan had this tweet in 2021. It's on Twitter. Piers Morgan, who, by the way, is a tit. He's a titmouse. Look, you know what he is. And a lot of the times, how do I say this? Many, many people, and I say this with all due respect, and our dear, dear friends, love the Brits. Some are great, but some of them are full of shit because they believe that for some reason, and I know what I'm about to say is going to strike you perhaps as being ill-conceived, but they think that by virtue of the way they speak, they're smarter than you. Because some people talk like that, and they believe that if there's a posh form of speech, they stop it. Give me somebody from Newcastle any day. Give me some Cockney, Geordie, whatever. And Piers Morgan is trying desperately to he fancies himself a journalist. I'm not going to argue. But he realizes today that he has to get numbers, and he gets numbers by just acting like a horse's ass. And he wrote in 2021 on Twitter, footballers, soccer folks, who refuse to be jabbed should be refused treatment for injuries. After all, why should they trust doctors about treatment for broken legs and torn ligaments if they don't trust them about a life-saving vaccine? This is Piers Morgan, this Boeotian, this numbskull in 2021. This is who he is. This is Piers Morgan. Now, another thing Piers Morgan did, which I didn't notice this, but I'm looking at it. Somebody says, Piers Morgan blocked somebody. I said, okay, he blocked me. I don't even care. Fine. I can't comment. I don't even, whatever. It doesn't matter. This goes to show you this is the world we live in. A bunch of sniveling little babies. I don't block anybody. There's a thing called ignore. You just ignore them. You can go to anybody on Twitter and just say ignore. I don't have to see you. I'm not going to block you. But I personally don't have to listen to you. But to block? Do you know how, and I'm going to use a word, unmanly. There's this, so many people want to be men and women, and men want to be women, and women want to be men. I don't know what it is. But one of the things that to me it means is very simply this. It doesn't mean I'm going to go in and beat your ass or anything. It just means that I'm not afraid of you. And I'm going to act really like an adult. Gender really has really nothing to do with it. And I'll be damned if I'm going to tell somebody, you can't talk to me. I've been blocked by David Crosby, Keith Olbermann, Alec Baldwin, Tater, that Brian Stelter, another woman, some other people I didn't even know who they were. It's like going to a bouncer and saying, if Joe Biden is not allowed in tonight, and you're telling the bouncer, don't let Joe Biden in, and Joe Biden's not coming. You know he's not going to come. But that's what these people are. But I thought to myself, I'm not going to back down from anybody. First of all, it's like, why? There's an old expression in politics. One is, it's not the lie, it's the cover-up. You can do whatever you want. And there are people, you can say whatever you want about Candace Owens or whatever. These folks do not back down from anybody. Sometimes they should, but they don't. So anyway, I thought to myself, this is the world we live in. This is called impuissance. This is called atesticular. This is where we are today. These are who these people. And the reason why is very simply this. You live in a world where, and social media has done this to an extent, you find yourself saying things that get the most reaction. For example, have you seen these stories about OnlyFans, these two women who were trying to compete? One, I'm not even going to tell you what they're competing, what they're going to break records doing. This is where society kind of is. We have a lot of people who are going to lose their minds over TikTok. And we really live in a very, very strange world, a very, very strange and a very, very weird world with a bunch of weird people, my friends. And I mean that. We've got to understand something, which is really something and really important for me to tell you. This is a strange world we live in, and I hope you understand this, that the reason why politics is so strange and the reason why everybody in this world, or the people who run the shows are crazy, is because of who they are. Now, next, this is important. There is for the second time now, there are two cases. One was a $5 million verdict about C. By the way, watch the CNN verdict if you can. And don't watch the plaintiff. Look at the lawyer next to him who looks like he's facing a firing squad. And they said, you owe this man $5 million. Next, CBS is trying to finalize a deal for the sale. And they are going to be asked to settle. This is fantastic. A case brought by Donald Trump. And this is just so absolutely wonderful. It is brilliant. And it's this wonderful case. I'm going to bring this to your attention. It is, well, you can see it. Yeah, you can see it. Anyway, so for this, we're getting into a whole nother world right now. And what's happening is, I hope you realize this, it just changed. It's very rare that we see something so demonstrable where you say, it is now okay to believe this. It is now okay to believe something. Ricardo says, Night of the Long Knives, symbolically, of course, indeed. Raul says, how will the RadLeft Wokies react to the shock? Well, we'll see. Look at a couple of things. Thank you, by the way. This Ruben and Norm Eisen and, this, what is his name that, I forget what it was, Andy, Borkowski or Borowski, Andy, whatever, Borowitz. These are these unfunny people who are finding themselves in a world where they are propped up for the longest time. They're propped up. Now, normally, when you are portraying something, saying something, doing something, believing in something that's wrong, let's say there's a musical style. Grunge is over. It's now classic rock. Kind of that punk stuff is over. It's classic rock. It's historic. The whole CBGB's, Talking Heads kind of thing is classic rock. It's over. You might hear some references. In normal worlds, the market will tell you this is the way it is. I'm telling you right now, I hear anything, even no matter what the rap is, and I despise it. I was hearing Snoop. I think it is absolutely, in my mind, it is cultural Neanderthalism. It is subliterate, subtard, monosyllabic, illiterate gibberish. It's a mouthful of nothing. It is faux, forced, unimaginative, replicative garbage. I despise it. I hate it. Okay, put that over here. It happens to be one of the most popular forms of music there is. Absolutely. So when Snoop says, I want to come and perform, or Nelly, or one of these other morons, Unidigit, not everybody, that Fitty dude is smart. No. Kanye West is very smart, very smart. But that's great. It's two people. He's smart. There were some professional football players years ago who were very, very smart. I mean, I don't know what that means. You found two or three, and I don't know enough about it. But what I'm telling you is I speak reality. And whether you like it or not, this is popular. Doesn't matter what you think. It's just the way it is. The Rubens and the Eisens and the Borowitzes and these lefties and the Joy Reid, they don't understand. It just closed. That disco is there. There is nothing there anymore. The audience is over here. You can talk about R&B all you want, and you can love R&B, Philly sound of the OJs, Motown, but that's not. Sorry, Bruno Mars notwithstanding. It's this. It's over. And what you have to do as a political strategist, somebody who looks at this, is understand this is the way it is. You can hate it. You can hate it internally, but it doesn't matter what you think. So what these people don't understand, the Wokies, for the longest time, they were artificially created where their shite didn't stink, they thought. Whatever they did. I want you to find a picture. There was the two guys, Rachel Levine and the other one, remember the bald-headed dude who stole somebody's luggage, and it was a designer dress, and it was, okay. One day, you're going to tell somebody, maybe your grandkids, and they're going to say, Grandpa, tell me something. You say, well, let me tell you what happened. You see this? These two guys thought they were girls. Well, they didn't think, they said. And they walked around in dress. Two of the ugliest looking people in the world. They really did. They, honest to God, they did. And everybody sat and they clapped. You're kidding. I swear to God. We have just been through a lunatic asylum. Imagine being born in a nut house, in an asylum, in a mental institution, in a psych ward. And then one day it closes down and you go outside and you realize, wait a minute. These people aren't yelling and screaming. No. I mean, some are. All I'm used to is being in a psych ward. Not anymore. You have been in a psych ward. You have been living one thing after another. And they've tried everything in their power to bring you down, to speed. They've tried everything. They have done everything. This is a war and a fight, not for things like, you can talk about inflation. Yeah. This is different. This is about the moral fiber, the basics of something. This is about something which is so tremendous. And Donald Trump, I swear to you, you may not be perfect. There are some things, because our side always wants to find fault with something. We love to find fault. We really do. We're very good at this. I mean, and we're really good. These people are so, they don't really get it, but we're very used to this. So sometimes we find fault on ourselves. And there are things that we can do, we can talk about all day long. But I want you to understand how critically important this is. This is something which you will feel the repercussions of this from now on. I want you to just listen to the volume of the argument from the other side, from the radical left, but not really what they're saying. Doesn't matter what they say. I don't really care. It doesn't matter. They're not in power. Somebody one time said an EEG, an electroencephalograph or encephalogram, the analogy would be like standing outside of a stadium and listening to the crowd and trying to guess the score. That's all we're trying to do. There's a movement right there. The Democrats are really bad. And I don't know why they did it. There are some things we don't know. In New York, Jets fans say, why are you doing this? This is at a professional level. I don't know. My job is not to figure out why people do it. I don't know why. I don't know why. I can't tell you. I'm only going to tell you the truth. And the truth sometimes hurts. The truth is very unpopular. And it's very politically, nope. I can't say half. On my private channel, I say the truth. And I say stuff, and it's the truth. I want you to understand this. People, you love the word truth. I do too. But sometimes the truth not only hurts. If it doesn't hurt, it's not the truth. It's got to piss somebody off. It's got to piss somebody off. You've got to understand something. And I mean, it's fun to try to figure out, like, well, why did the radical left do this? And why did they do this? Why did they think this? Why is there this penchant, this preoccupation, this predilection, this predisposition to be alliterative with all this gender stuff? I don't know. I have no earthly idea. I couldn't tell you why. I have no idea. Well, what was it? I don't know. Where did this come from? I don't know. Why do they love abortion so much? I don't know. Why did Joe Biden open up the White House to every freak? I don't know. I don't know. I believe me, we sometimes, it's fun, kind of like a parlor game, but we spend too much time and asking, why. But what's happening right now is something that is going to be brutal. Now, remember something. Somebody told me one time, when a teacher comes into a class, the first thing you do is a teacher comes in really hard and tells him right off the bat, you're not going to mess with me. Later on, he can get nice. But if a teacher comes in and tries to be your friend right away, it ain't going to work, because kids will mow you down. They will sense weakness and they will come after you. And you have to be brutal. This Mr. Chips or to serve with love garbage is nonsense. There are people who have to understand certain rules. Number one, not everybody in the United States is our equal. They might be our equal in terms of the fact that they have the same laws as we do, but they are not our equal in terms of talent, intelligence, education, the ability to comply and comport with laws. They don't. They don't. This is just the way it is. You can go into a dog park. I was watching the other day, I don't think dog parks are good because they just swap all kinds of disease. But I looked at all these dogs today. There's none of them. They have nothing in common. Nothing. They're all different. They look different, but they act different. They're really incompatible. They just don't kill each other. But they're really not. They're not equal. They're really not. That's what we are. There are some people from certain known demographics that are not good people. They have to be removed. And when I mean removed, either sidelined, disciplined, or something, we spend far too much time in this country cottoning to and kowtowing to and paying, I don't know what the word is, attention to people who do nothing but hurt us. And come, I think, is it Saturday next week, Tom Homan is going to see you're going to see the first blast, the first removal of huge swaths of humanity. And it's going to be something you are never going to forget. Let me stop right now and tell you, while everybody is talking so great about a lot of things of excitement and inflation, there are so many folks right now who are very seriously in trouble in terms of being behind the eight ball financially and otherwise. And this message might be the most important thing they could hear in a long time. Listen to this. New reports reveal that the average person has $8,674 in credit card debt. Plus, the total average consumer debt is a shocking $104,215 between mortgages, auto loans, student loans, credit cards, and unsecured loans. Unfortunately, without outside assistance, many will continue digging themselves deeper and deeper into the hole of debt. I've advised and counseled friends and clients for years who want to take back control of individual debt about this secret weapon that has helped so many consolidate everything owed into one affordable monthly payment. They even helped negotiate a settlement agreement that will allow you to pay less than the total balance. Listen, they settled over $275 million in debt, and they've helped people become debt-free in an average of 28 months. I've had such an incredible experience referring clients and friends that I wanted to partner with them here and introduce their services to you, my loyal Lionel Nation family. If you want a helping hand to get out of debt, I absolutely, positively, and strenuously recommend booking a free consultation now by going to nodebtwithlionel.com. Look at the address. Once again, that's nodebtwithlionel.com. Use the link I've provided under the title. Listen to me. You can take control and learn how to get out of debt now. There is something, my friend, that also we need to talk about, and this is, and you can put the various levels and layers, because we can't fix everything, and the president can't fix everything, and we're going to do the best we can. We are suffering from a tremendous amount of incredible, how do I say this? Immaturity. Absolute immaturity. You understand this? There are people who also don't feel a sense of connection with reality. I want to talk to you, first of all, about the world of predation. And every time I look in the, whatever it is, headlines, there's a mention of the guy who has the islands whose name begins with E. There was a doctor who victimized 200 people. There was something which is also the saddest of the sad. There are these two OnlyFans people who are trying to compete for who can break records regarding various activities. One in particular, who has promised to engage in one particular activity, which most probably is going to result in some type of reconstructive emergency surgery when she gets done. This is where we are right now. This is where we are. We love to talk about this stuff. We love to talk about it, but we love to talk about it in a kind of a titillating way. Nobody wants to do anything about it. Nobody wants to do anything about it. This is something which I don't know about Trump can help us with. And I've never been somebody who has been moral. Let me rephrase that. Who has been screaming about morals, because one person's morals is another person's whatever. And that was never my thing. This one I will tell you. If we don't, and again, this has nothing, but I as a president would do this. If we do not understand, look, men are gone. I understand that they're just whatever it is. But women have somehow got to figure out this thing called modesty. And modesty turns out to be the sexiest thing anybody has ever seen. They don't understand it. I don't even understand where we are so debauched. We're losing all sense. How do I say this? If people were smart, if people were really smart, they would stop and realize social media has accelerated. This is beyond Caligula. Believe me when I'm telling you something. I'm not a prude. Believe me when I tell you that. But what I'm seeing here in the way we act is so counterproductive and so sad. Bradley Oplin says, have any thoughts about the little red book? We'll get to that in a moment. Yeah. but I want to focus on this right now. This is something, but thank you very much. This is something which I cannot tell you about. We need more and more. Mrs. L was talking yesterday about, by the way, she's doing a live today at 3, so pay attention, on her Lynn's Warriors. There was an event we went to. I drove her to something, and I don't participate in this, but I was just watching this, and there were, I don't know how many young girls from a high school, and they're all meeting, and they're looking for leadership. And then there's, of course, the there's this message that so many girls are constantly given, that you are victims, you are the object of predation, you are the subject of prey, you are the focus of this everywhere we go, from the guy with the island, everywhere you go, to this OnlyFans, which did something which was so, and listen, I can't stand in the way of it. It's legal. That's the way it goes. It's like your own kind of a how-to, your own burlesque or whatever it is. That's the way it goes. But if you sit back and you talk to somebody from another planet and they say, what is that? I said, oh, that's OnlyFans. What is that? Well, women can set up a, like kind of like we're doing here with news, but you set this thing up and you pay, and they say they're making any millions of dollars or whatever a year, and they basically sit there in front of a camera and they take whatever degree of self-respect, modesty, intimacy, beauty, class, whatever, and they basically throw it out the window in order to make money. Now, you could argue that happens with professional wrestling, acting. So I'm not going to be one of these people, but this is what's happening right now. So there are these Twitter references to two women in particular saying that they're going to break the record of thousands of people in one day or whatever. You do know that a society will just collapse if this is like a mole that you haven't looked at, where somebody says, you better look at this thing. This thing does not look good. That's what this is. Because a mole can kill you. A mole is a little mole. But the how do I say this? The tendrils, the roots of this, they become metastatic, and it permeates everything. It doesn't look like much, but it's deadly. Carla, the cookie CEO, says, not religious, but Sodom and Gomorrah demise could be a solution nowadays too. Well, indeed, Sodom and Gomorrah, believe it or not, do you know why God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah? And I want to make sure I get the right reference. Where I didn't. When I heard this, it blew me away. This is one of those things. This is it. You ready for this? Okay, listen to this one. According to the various stories, according to the Bible, God destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah because of their extreme wickedness, but specifically described as immorality, but more than anything else, listen to me, a lack of hospitality towards strangers as depicted in the story of Lot in Genesis 19. This was not the act, but the showing of hostility towards outsiders and hospitality. When the angels were there, people came and said, "Come, release them so that we can know them." And God was furious because this is the way. Hospitality. If ever you're in the Middle East, this may sound very strange, but I didn't know this. But in Israel, was there twice. Whenever you went anywhere, any office, anything, they have sweets and cakes and this, because you're a guest. And it's weird about being a guest. It's ingrained. I mean, we have no sense of this. None. We don't know what that is. There was what's his name? Maniscalco Sebastian had this great routine about how when we used to have company, when people would come in the house and you would save the special pound cake, and now we hide from people. Believe it or not, that's one of the ideas. I don't know about when's debauched, when's not. I can't tell you. But what I can, Carly, tell you this. And Brian Ekdahl says, L, what is up with Fox News? It's getting bad. What do you think, you savage, hand fart headed your way? You just realize this? You just realize this? You just realize this about what? About Fox. You just realize this? Listen, what I think is important, they're never going to do this. They're never going to say this. Again, they're still not addressing what the fires are about. Again, here's the problem. See, this is the thing. Let me go back to what I'm saying. When I told you about the truth, I have this crazy thing where when I hear something, I want to research it. Well, tell me what this is really about. And I told people these what am I saying? Biblical scholars. I said, believe it or not, the Bible, or whatever you call the Bible, has really nothing. There's really no great prohibition against homosexuality. That wasn't Jesus's concern at all. Oh, there were some other references towards a man lay with another man, but also you had to kill your neighbor if they didn't, according to Leviticus, if they didn't honor the Sabbath, or if you wore clothing of two different kinds of thread, or, you got to sell your daughter. I don't even want to get into that stuff. The thing is self-respect. This is the part that's the hardest. One of the things which is the saddest, if you lose respect for yourself, it's over. It's done. It's finished. If you allow people, there's two things about bullying, and I'm sorry, but this has nothing to do with it, with the election, with the inauguration, but this is critical, and you need to hear this. The thing about bullying, which is the problem, is twofold. Number one, if you have a child who's showing bullying tendencies, this is psychopathy, also sadism. They're getting off on hurting somebody's feeling, number one. Number two, you, the recipient, are losing your soul. You cannot give in to bullies. You cannot do this. And you've got to figure a way to get people back. You cannot let people disrespect you. You can't do it. The moment you do, the game's over. You're through and you're finished. And all of us collectively, for the past 4+ years, have been so disrespected. And the only way we're going to come back is if we do it brutally. I'm not talking about violence. I mean intellectually, brutally. And one thing we have to do is we need a brand new party. We don't have a political party. They still don't want you. Let me explain something. They still don't want you to go back. See, this Piers Morgan, he's a titmouse. You know it, and I know it. He does stuff. Today you say something just to get, to get numbers. And look, I understand that. That's the way it is. That's what people do with ratings and the like. We need to go back and absolutely make people watch. Did you ever see the movie? Is it Sicario? Yeah. No, yeah. I think it's Sicario with Josh Brolin. Remember where he makes that Somalian? I think it's Sicario. He makes a Somalian watch the video. He says, "Is this your brother's house? Watch this." And he makes them hold it. And he looks away and he pushes the button and boom. And then he goes, "You got a green light, go." We have to take people, listen to what I'm saying, and make them confront, first of all, the 11th day of the 9th month. You got to be careful what we say here. 24 years ago. Unless we sit there and say they lied to you, and you sat there and they lied to you. They lied to you. They lied to you. They lied to you. The official narrative, look, and they lied, and the media lied, and the politicians lied, and all they had to do was tell you the truth. You weren't going. What were you going to do if they tell you? My friend Gordon, the great Gordon Zola, used to say, some people would rather climb up a tree and lie than stand there and tell the truth. Why don't they tell you the truth? Tell me, I understand it. Tell me the truth about World War II, about Vietnam, about anything. Tell me the truth. Tell me what happened. You know David Lynch? He was a truther. David Lynch, truther. Who was the fellow too? The William Hurt or whatever? Truther. I love the way they call you a truther. They make it a pejorative. You want to know the truth. What? That's bad? Yeah, that's bad. You want to know the truth? Yeah, that's bad. And then we have this fellow named Piers Morgan. He has to be figuratively, I'm doing a lot of these, I gotta stop this. Figuratively, he's got to be beaten to a pulp. Figuratively. You've got to sit there, you can't do this. You can't do this. You cannot, in an era where we will never go through this again. There are people who lost their livelihoods, who lost their everything, because for whatever reason, it was up to them. They wanted to rebel against biomedical tyranny, and they wanted to refuse mandatory government-ordered potions. Let me ask you something. How many here would allow, like Rick, what's his name? Rick, Rick Perry. Remember Gardasil? Remember the HPV jab for little girls? Would you do that? This was years ago. And I'm saying, why does he want to do that? They always let you know ahead of time. Bilderberg did it and others. They give you this thing. They give you a hint. They just start off with something simple. Remember, before the trans thing, it was bathrooms. Remember that what they said? They were telling you, men, people should be using bathrooms. You go, bathrooms? What are you talking about? And they went from that immediately to trans. So they give you these hints. Rick Perry was telling you about HPV and Gardasil way back. And he had to deal with Searle or Pfizer or somebody. How do you do this? How do you do this? I don't understand this. A little girl? Human papilloma? Condyloma acuminata? Venereal warts? A little girl? What are you talking about? What's going on here? Wait a minute. What? What? Wait a minute. Hold it. Wait. What? What? Red dye? That's okay. Oh, get rid of the red dye. All of a sudden we're going crazy with the red dye. That's a okay, if that makes you feel better. There are bigger things than red dye. I don't understand. Anyway, but the point I'm trying to make, perhaps circuitously, elliptically, and not very well on point, and I apologize in advance. We need a group of people. We need to grab the heads of people and say, watch this. Look what they told you. Look. Piers Morgan is a quisling. He's the person who will sell you down the river. He's the guy in your neighborhood when the brown shirts come who turn you in. He's the guy who says, Anne Frank, they're over there. Or whatever the particular story whatever works for you. That's who this is. This is something which is incredible. I don't even understand this. I don't even understand how any of this stuff can. But the point is, Piers Morgan and these people, and Rick Perry and others, they're only doing this not because they care about you. They're carrying it because they made a deal with these companies. Carla, the cooking CEO, says, time for show and tell. They better listen and learn. Oh, absolutely. But remember, this is not going to all be done with Trump, but it's the beginning. It's the beginning. The second thing, you have to have a global holy shit moment where all of a sudden you see uniformed either Homeland Security, the 82nd Airborne, 101st Airborne, 1st Marine Division, as Eisenhower federalized, I think it was 101st, to mandate desegregation. We need to have people lining up, getting on white buses or something that is identifiable, and having pictures in caravans. Each person documented in terms of biometric, iris scans, ears, whatever it is, to make sure they don't come back. This is the most important thing in the world, I can tell you, to make sure they don't come back. We know you. All kids, everyone has to be protected, segregated, and made sure. Who are you going with? This is your uncle, your grandfather. It's got to be DNA tested. Got to be some kind of, we're not going to do this. Oh, no. Little kids can stay here. If they've been, I can't use the T word, but if they've been brought here against their will, oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. See, once they see this, they think, oh, my God. And Mayorkas, to hear Mayorkas, that sniveling rat bastard, that quizzling, he was threatening, basically saying, well, they kind of forced me to do this. What? Are you kidding me? See, they think you're stupid. Have you noticed these pictures of, did you see the latest of Michelle Obama and Barry out? She's getting away from, something's not right with her. Did you see this latest picture? Oh my God. That has nothing to do with the story. This is just something I want to throw out because it's cheap and it's tawdry and it's fascinating. It's fascinating how people are trying to change image. But this is what the president has to be able to tell. We have to say, we're going to be vindicated. I want that word, conspiracy theorist, to be what everybody is. A conspiracy analyst, to use Gore Vidal's word. I want people to say every single thing you've been told, every single thing you have been told by this government is false. And I want President Trump to say, when I tell you something in my administration, you got to go on, you got to verify this. My friends, we are looking at biomedical tyranny, biomedical martial law. There's going to be something else coming up. There was a case, Jacobson against Massachusetts, and it dealt with a smallpox vaccination. It was 1905. They need to deal with this. And Jacobson was, I think, a Swede who came here, and he didn't want to take it again because he had an adverse effect, and it was just a fine they were given. Anyway, we need to do this. Do you think one day, if I can mandate this, I can mandate you not having a certain BMI, a body mass index? Do you think it is beyond the realm of imagination for the government to incarcerate, to house, to segregate people who are obese, morbidly obese? And maybe one day, and by the way, this Ozempic stuff, you better watch out for this. If you can't see this one coming, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. There's something very, 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 very scary about things that seem so obvious to me. Next, we need to have somebody who goes over things. We need to have somebody, like you mentioned, somebody mentioned Fox News. Whenever there's a fire and you have somebody from the New York Post. The Post is the worst because that's Fox. That's Rupert Murdoch. That's whatever the company is. When they said that somebody, a big realtor, by the way, it's not realtor, it's realtor, realty, real estate. Anyway, when they said that 70% of the people from Palisades won't be coming back, that's it. Do you not understand what's happening? I've got to retrain people to be more, as you say, even though it's not a conspiracy, because that deals with the confederation or the agreement between two or more people who are doing something. I'm talking about the particular idea, not how the idea is manifested, either individually or with other people. That's a different story. Even the word is wrong. Even the phrase is wrong. This is as serious as it gets, my friend. This is as serious as it gets. We're going to change everything. I've thrown a lot of things at you, but I want you to do me a favor. Do not necessarily be sworn to follow whatever they tell you the headline is. Most of the time, the headline is really not of any interest to me. That's like, it's low-hanging fruit. There are people I know I don't want to mention too many names, but there are people who, whatever the headline is, they will do it because they think that's what you believe in. No, the headlines are not necessarily, my headlines are completely different than what anybody has to do. You notice how nobody is talking anything about what's happening in Israel and Palestine. Why is that? Why do you think that is? What happened to Hezbollah? What happened to Iran? What happened with that? What happened? What happened with that? Is that going to play? How does that work? America, in particular, is absolutely retarded when it comes to foreign affairs, international relations, anything international. Absolutely, for the longest time, because we have always said, we're the U.S., we don't have to worry about any other country. We live alone, off the grid, so to speak. We don't care about that. You better start caring. Big time. Right this moment. Because let me tell you something. The next thing is they're going to be here. I don't want to get ahead of the game. I just want to say, number one, does anybody really think that the president is moving everything, kind of people indoors because of the temperature? Do you believe that? Yes or no? Anybody believe that? People are saying, we want to be there. We don't care about the temperature. We'll be fine. Remember the ice bowl, John Facenda, the icy tundra, whatever, the frozen icy tundra, the Green Bay Packers? Do you believe this? Do you believe? Come on. What are you hearing? What are you hearing? I don't understand why he says, listen, just tell people this isn't safe. Carla, the cooking CEO says, the inquisitive and discerning mind will always seek deeper truths and uncover hidden insights. That is true. And also ask questions about things, Carla, that seemingly seem kind of obvious. I know nobody wants to talk about this right now, but the thing that nobody ever discusses in any decision is a clinical, scientific, neurological study of love. Romantic love. Nobody's ever discussed it because they think that, oh no, that's the greatest scientific, that's the greatest behavioral thing humans ever do. Animals don't do it. Humans do it. Animals don't love you. Love is a different story. Don't ever anthropomorphize love into thinking dogs like them. Happy birthday, Eve, Mrs. L. Indeed, Tom Malloy. Should be up at 3 o'clock today, by the way. So this is it. But also, we have to be able to tell the president, listen, tell people. We live in a world right now that has been so fraught with uncertainty and danger because of this past administration that we have to cancel this because I don't want anybody being hurt. I don't know what's going to happen. We're getting stuff I can't tell you about. Tell us. But a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, we made plans and we don't want to go inside and watch this. We want to be there. And people earn this. People want to be there. This means everything to them. I do not remember a time in my life. I thought maybe with Reagan, but not like this. You will never be able to grasp how big President Trump is, what he's done. Never. It's going to take generations and historians and people from all walks of life from now on to be doing this. So, in any event, dear friends, let me also ask you, 87%, when I saw this, I'm still freaked out over this. 87% of the people who watch me on Lionel Nation are not subscribed, or huge swaths of subscribers are not, how do I say this, are not or unsubscribed. Also, are you getting the news? How do I say this? The newsletter. There is something which is important also, and I sent this to somebody, which is very, very nice. There is a reason why some people are not getting not only my newsletter, but you don't know what you are getting or not getting. It's not enough merely to check spam or your spam folder. You have to find out what your spam filters are set to. They go into kind of a weird kind of a quarantine. It never makes a spam folder. There are things that you have never, ever seen, ever. That is, and by the way, whenever your mail system sees something that appears to have all of the accoutrement of spam, they will immediately quarantine it, either having put in my email or something. So just to let you know, we had a case one time. We had a Mrs. L's. We had somebody who never, ever, ever got our email. And they did, I think they did GoDaddy, and it was a quarantine list. And when we got to it, she said, oh my God, it was just filled with things that never even make it into your mailbox. So it's not, just so that you know this, it's not merely looking into, just Google this. You can even use Grok or ChatGPT. Just ask, what is the difference between spam filter and a spam file or spam folder? It's very interesting. It's fascinating. So anyway, that's that. I've got emails on TikTok, I love the Barack Obama, that fraud, those two, in any event. So thank you for that. Please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Remember, tomorrow is her birthday, as we said in I had an aunt who would say birthday. It drove me nuts. I said, is this the planet Earth? Just kidding. Did you say muffer and daddy? Anyway, so that's that. Thank you, dear friends. As usual, you are without peer. I mean that sincerely. I thank all of you for your kindness. I want to thank our good friend Raul Rodriguez. Trump is being cautious. I think he is. But still, let people know why he is being cautious. Let him know why we must be cautious by virtue of this prior administration. Tom Malloy, thank you. Carla, the cooking CEO, thank you. Brian Ekdahl, thank you. Brad Upland, Raul Rodriguez, and Ricardo, thank you for not being who you are, but what you appear to be as well. And I mean that sincerely. All right, my friends, have a great and a glorious day. Tomorrow's going to be a mofo when it comes to snow, as they say. It's a nice balmy 45 degrees right now in the city. And in any event, thank you for that. Have a great and a glorious day. Remember, we are victorious. President Trump is going to win. He is going to win. Oh, we're not going to win. I mean, he won. But win in terms of, because now the effort to undo this horror. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. Thanks so much for being a part of this. Don't forget, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Da-da.